Welcome in. Welcome in. It is time for something we have long awaited, the 2024 season in South Carolina. And it's also time for our first live show that we're doing here on Lost Letterman. My name is Stacey Huff. It's Timeout Convos. Welcome in. And I'm joined with my good friend and brother, the venerable one, the longtime sports writing veteran, Chris Deering, who's written for many publications, including the state newspaper. And right now with RedZone. And Chris and I are going to talk the best we can about some things that get you ready for the season and some things on our minds and start the conversation. But as we know, as we bring Chris Deering in, it is an ongoing conversation. This is the preview. As the view gets clearer, you play your way into the conversation. Chris, welcome in, sir.
Hey, glad to be here, Stacey. It's it's football season. Practice has started across the state for high schools. This weather this week has not been helping them out a whole lot, but they're getting it done. And next weekend we got jamborees, and it's a week after that we get started full bore. And man, I'm excited. I can't wait to get going, and let's get this thing kicked off.
Pads are popping, Chris. You and I played back in the 80s, and we still never lose that excitement. The grass smells funny, and August comes, and it's different, right? It's a different.
We wore them big pads back then too.
Whoa, everybody had the linebacker pads back then. So welcome in, folks tuning in. We're on live. I think we're going to be on Facebook. I think we're on YouTube, and we're definitely on Lost Letterman. I'm glad to have you guys here with us. And again, for those just tuning in, we're going to be here for about an hour. We're going to chop it up the best way we can. Myself, Stacey Huff, Chris Deering. It is Timeout Convos on the platform of Lost Letterman. Shout out to my guy Todd for making that happen. And on the screen below, you'll see a scroll of some of the top players in the state of South Carolina. Not all of them. We're going to do some top 10 lists. Top 10 means only 10 teams. That don't mean you can't win a championship if you're not on the list before the season starts and all that. So we're going to preface it with that. And if you think your team is going to shock the world, when you shock the world, we're going to definitely put you on the show. We'll do more shows as the season goes on. So, Chris, let's jump right into it. And we'll be joined by a couple of coaches here later on. And as we get started, we'll let you know two coaches from the area, one from a Skeezer school, one from a regular public school here in South Carolina will join us on their face. They'll be on the link in just a moment. But, Chris, go ahead and talk about a couple of things that what are you looking forward to real quick, briefly, and then go into one of your top 10. Pick any classification, 1 through 5A. But first of all, what's some things you're looking forward to seeing in the 2024 high school season in South Carolina?
Well, the first thing you got to look at is we have realignment this year. So you've got teams moving up, teams moving down, and wherever they fit in the whole thing, I think that's made it interesting. I did my top 10 this week in all classifications across the board, and it was different because you had to make sure you had teams slotted in the right spot and not in the wrong classification. And it made the rankings to me, I hadn't talked to many guys across the state, but for me, it made the rankings a little bit more challenging. And again, you just cut on it. It's preseason. We hadn't seen these teams yet. And I'm going to make a prime example of White Knoll last year. They were on nobody's radar going into the season. And they played in the 5A state championship. So, this is not the end all be all. We haven't seen these teams. We've seen 7-on-7 all summer. Right. We've seen those type of things. But, when you put the pads on and you do, you make it all what it's about, then, it's different. And so we got to see these teams just like everybody else. Some scrimmages are just this week. We hope to get out to see some of those. I know a lot of them for tomorrow got postponed, got pushed out.
The weather.
But maybe Friday and Saturday I can get out and see a couple and see some teams really hit pads. But, I'm going to start at 5A.
Yeah.
Let's start at 5A with the rankings up top. And, there was some social media dust up this week from Tom Knott's comments that there's a poll out there that has Dutch Fork ranked 5th, and he caught wind of that. And, again, that was not the prep writers poll. Ours is not released yet. Matter of fact, ours is not due in until Monday. So that was not our rankings, but I have Dutch Fork number 1, and there's no reason not to put them number 1. They got a lot returning from last year. There's talent up and down the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. And I told people last year when Dutch Fork was 2-5, nobody wants to see Dutch Fork in November.
I said the same thing.
It turned out to be. And again, they might not start out the best, but I don't think anybody wants to see Dutch Fork come October and November again this coming year. So they're my preseason number 1 at 5A. I know, shocking. I mean, I mean, that's really going out on a limb, but that's where we are. And I just like Dutch Fork. And then, go ask you guys comment, Stacey.
No, somebody had him number 5. That was the controversy, but it wasn't you and it wasn't me.
If somebody had a 5, I did not have their 5.
Go ahead.
Number 2, I got Somerville. They lost a lot. That team was really senior laden last year.
Yeah.
But I think that team has a lot of talent. They got a returning quarterback that's really good.
Yeah.
They got some skilled guys. They got a sophomore that I think could really electrify people this coming year. So I think Somerville's could be right back there in the mix. Number 3, I have Gaffney. They have a quarterback that's very familiar to this area. I think he started off at Ridgeview, played one season at Ben Lippen, but he's transferred to Gaffney now, and he's getting some Division I looks. So I will put Gaffney at number 3. Hillcrest at number 4, a team that's really got in a lot of transfers. They got a lot of new guys in a lot of different positions. And, sort of a side note here, their coach, Bennett Swigert, actually played for his dad in high school.
Yeah.
So go back a long way with that family. And Bennett's done a really good job at Hillcrest. And I got them preseason number 4. Number 5, right here locally, I stayed in the Midlands area, Irmo. They're moving up from 4A. They played in the state semifinals last year in the 4A division, and I like that team. AJ Brand committed to Virginia Tech, really good quarterback. Donovan Murph, one of the top wide receivers in the state. I mean, he's a national recruit. Let's make no bones about it. Donovan Murph is really good. So I like this Irmo team. I think their defense is going to be really good again, and they'll make some waves in 5A.
Let me pause you right there. So on the Watch Fox 57, there's Donovan Murphy on your screen, but on the Watch Fox 57 schedule that I may or may not have time to get to today. Of course, I do the play-by-play there, Chris. Along with Joe Cash and my man on the color commentary. But our final game of the season, November 1st, 2024. It is Irmo at Dutch Fork. That might be for a whole lot of things. These are 2 powerhouse teams, and that's going to be a matchup that everyone in the state will be watching. November 1st, Irmo at Dutch Fork.
That's going to be a big one, Stacey. No doubt about it. That might be for the region title. That might be for home field advantage. That's going to be for a lot of things, I think, in that last week of the season.
Yeah, there's AJ Brand on the screen.
AJ Brand, yeah, fantastic talent. I think he's get a shot at quarterback at Virginia Tech, but that'll be seen when he gets to the college level. But fantastic high school quarterback, just a great athlete too. He won a state championship in basketball as the point guard. Let's remember that.
Yes.
So great talent. Number 6, we're going on to number 6. Another team that's benefited from transfers a little bit this offseason. JL Man, they were good last year, if you remember.
Yeah.
That's the team that Dutch Fork knocked off in the semifinals with really an incredible comeback in the last 90 seconds.
That game was definitely in the balance. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they kicked a field goal with, I think, 5 seconds to go, 9 seconds to go to win that game. And so we might not be sitting here talking about Dutch Fork as being defending champs, but JL Man is back. I think they're going to be really good this year. And
Patriots.
I got them at number 6 going into the preseason. Number 7, I think a lot of my prep writers have this team higher than I do. From the ones I've talked to anyway, I think they got them ranked a little bit higher. But I have White Knoll at number 7. A magical run last year, undefeated regular season, plays for their state championship for the first time in school history. And Nick Pelham's got it going over there. I mean, he coached under Tom Knott, so he knows what it takes to win. But that team was hit hard by graduation. That defense was, I would say that defense was the best defense in the state last year. The average gave up about 8 points a game. And I think, he's got a lot of holes to replace on that side of the ball, but he's got a couple kids back that I think are really good. They got the quarterback back in Landon Sharp. They got a sophomore running back. I think White Knolls could be really, really good this year again.
That running back is special. His name is K-Tron. That kid is going to be a P4 talent.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, he's a sophomore, and he's only going to get better, I think, with time. Number 8, I have Sumter, a team that's, always right there in the top 10, it seems like every single year. They got the South Carolina commit, Anthony Addison,
yes,
on the defensive line, defensive end position. I think he's could be really good. I think that Sumter team is poised to be really good. They got to fill some holes on offensive as well, but I think Sumter's could be right there in the mix coming into this season. Then coming into number 9, a team that I struggled with Northwestern. I didn't know where to put them in the 5A ranks, and I got Northwestern at number 9. You know, they got a talented quarterback coming back, Finley Polk, and he's played multiple years. He's really good. I think he just committed to Gardner Webb, if I'm not mistaken.
Up in Boiling Springs, North Carolina.
There you go. There you go. And so I struggled where to put Northwestern. I had him up higher. I moved him back down. So they ended up being at number 9. I think they have a really talented team. Another side note, coached by Coach Walford up there. I played for his dad in high school. So the Walford and the Swigert guys, I know them. I remember those guys when they were kids, and I played.
Ball boys. They were ball boys.
Yeah, ball boys. So, and then Spartanburg, I have at number 10. You know, they played Dutch Fork. I think they beat Dutch Fork in the regular season last year. They got a lot of talent returning. They're really good. You know, that number 10 spot, I put about 4 or 5 teams in there before I decided on Spartanburg. But I think I'm going to go with the Vikings at number 10. And, you know, I feel like I've got a pretty solid top 10. We'll see how it all pans out. One note I got to make, we did decide as a group of prep writers to have one 5A poll. But you remember we're splitting the championship this year. It's to be a Division I, Division II type state champion.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't want to rank them that way because the AP don't rank college football that way.
That's
so
right.
we decided to just go with one poll, and however it shakes out, it shakes out. I think it would have been hard to rank 20 teams in 5A, really and truly, to make it, you know, fair.
And to be honest with you, it might not be 20 worth ranking at this time, not knowing what we know. We don't know enough, I'm saying. Not enough information, because there's a lot of new things going on. And I think 10 makes it easier for everybody, to you guys' point. But when I say not necessarily worth ranking, it's just that's 10 more slots of controversy unnecessarily when they got to sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not a big fan of the split divisions. You know, for those who new to it or forgotten already, it used to be 7 championship games. 1A had 2 championships. 2A had 2 championships. 4A had 2 championships, and 3A had only 1. And the reason I know, because there were years where I broadcast all 7 games. That's a long weekend, but 7 games. We have 5 classifications now. I wish there were just 5. There'll be a 6th championship game. 6 champions decided this year. If you guys are paying attention to what Chris just said, and we thank you all for tuning in. By the way, shout out to Tony Descher Law Firm, a friend of the show, Tio's Mexican downtown Columbia, Tio Mexican Restaurant. Of course, all of our friends at the show. I'm going to shout out some of those as we go to Timeout Convos. I got to continue to love on my people. But Chris, while we're efforting to get Coach Helms in, Coach Corey Helms is going to join us here shortly. And later we'll have Coach Derek Howard of Ridgeview. Coach Corey Helms, I believe, going into his 3rd year at Carter Newman. And Derek Howard back at Ridgeview. He was at Ridgeview as an offensive coordinator. He's back there. We'll have both of them join us at some point here in this hour. We're efforting. This is a live show. So with live shows, sometimes you can have a little glitch here or there. We can try to get them both on. They're both standing by ready to join us. But Chris, let me go into when you went to the top 10. White Knoll, you mentioned weren't ranked last year. So if you're not in this top 10, don't let your feelings be hurt. Play your way in, because White Knoll, I saw them week 0, Chris, in Orangeburg. Right? Mm-hmm. I think Sharp was hurt that game, as a matter of fact. I think not Sharp, the wide receiver was out.
He missed like the first 6 weeks of the season.
Right. So they played the Orangeburg team, and they ran through Orangeburg, and we didn't know at the time. Joe Cash and I on the broadcast, we left saying White Knoll looked really impressive. Is it that, or is the fact that OW is really, really young? How good is White Knoll really? Well, we soon found out, because they ran roughshod, including Dutch Fork, beat Dutch Fork in a 1-possession game in region play. That championship game
started region play. I was at that game.
First game of region play, and that game was the precursor to the championship game. So there's Coach Corey Helms in there. Let's bring Coach Helms in. Coach Corey Helms of Cardinal Newman. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. My man. I'm gonna ask you a quick question. I'll let Chris jump in there too. But before we do any of that, talk about your squad and what are you excited about for the 2024 season, Coach?
We got a really young squad. We were looking at it the other day. We'll start 4 freshmen, 6 sophomores, 5 seniors, and the rest will be juniors. So we're really young. little inexperienced in some spots, but the guys they're hungry and they work really hard. They're like sponges. Whatever you tell them, they do, which is nice. But we'll just have to see. I think as the season goes on, we're going to get better. But we also have a lot of talent too. So I mean, they're young and they're inexperienced, but they are talented. So it'll be exciting to see them progress as the year goes on.
All right, Chris, you have a question for Coach?
Yeah, Corey, I know you lost your quarterback last season. What are you looking at the quarterback position this year, and how has he sort of developed in this preseason?
Yeah, so obviously you lose a guy like Duncan Skian, that's tough. I mean, he was basically a coach on the field, and obviously extremely talented. The guy replacing him this year is Jason Horton. He's been in our program the last couple of years, and he's had an opportunity to learn and develop behind Duncan. And, you know, we've switched a lot of stuff on offense, but it's still all the same scheme and a lot of the same terminology. So he's kind of been able to, you know, move forward with it like he's been doing it a couple of years. And he's had a great offseason. I mean, he's captured the team, and guys believe in him, and he's playing really well right now.
Coach, we want to keep you long, man. I noticed the weather's been out there affecting people, and you guys, Coach is trying to get practice in around rest and all that. We won't keep you long. It's about a 5-minute gig apiece. I'll ask one more question, and Chris may have one as well. But I finished this sentence for me, Coach Helms. The Carter Newman football team will have an outstanding, spectacular 2024 season if what happens?
Well, if we run the ball well and play good defense. That's the rest. We're gonna run the ball, and you know, until we get stopped, and then we'll probably run it some more. And then you know, we got to play good defense. We got to tackle well, limit explosive plays, and make teams drive the field on us. I think we'll be successful if we do that.
Okay, Chris.
Corey gave us some of that coach speak right now.
Yeah. That was Coach Speech 101. I like that, Corey. That was good stuff.
No doubt. But you come to a game, I promise we're gonna.
So we got a quick clock if we come to one of your games, right?
45 minutes, you're out.
I love it. I love it. We're coming. You know, we're coming. We're bringing the TV cameras. We'll be there.
All right. Overall, Skeeza picture. Tell me what you're looking at. Who are the teams to beat in Skeeza outside of your squad? What's that Class 4, Division 4 looking like in Skeeza this year?
Yeah, I mean, Skeeza 4A has been tough since I've gotten into Skeeza. You know, obviously Hammond's at the top, and everybody's kind of chasing Hammond right now. But looking at what's coming back, I mean, Lawrence Manning seems to be playing for it every year. Porter Gowd returns their whole team from last year, and they were a couple plays away from competing for it all last year as well. I think they returned, I could be wrong, 20 out of 22 starters.
I actually did a preview on them. I think you're right. Yes.
Yeah, they're heavy. And they got some dudes. They're going to be really good this year. So you look at those guys. Obviously, Ben Lippin. You know, they're always talented, and Coach Weigel over there does a great job. Augusta Christian's got good players. Heathwood's got good players. You know, Northwood coming up. I mean, I know we played Northwood my first year, and they were kind of in a similar position as we were. And now they seem to be on the rise big time. And I know they got a lot of guys returning. So it should be a good battle in 4A.
Yeah, so what day we have you on TV versus who? Who's your TV game?
No TV game. I guess our third quarter last year.
I think you guys might be on there. I think you might be on there. You're not on there? You're not on the schedule this year? I thought you were. My bad if you're not. I apologize.
It's all right. I mean, we won the Sonic Challenge 2 years in a row.
My bad. I misspoke. Hey, guess what? We'll have you back on next year, and that's fine. Corey, we won't keep you long, man. We appreciate you sharing some time with us on Timeout Convos on Lost Letterman, and be available, man. We'll circle back and have you. We have a lot of coaches on during the season. We'll have you back on again, okay?
Anytime. I appreciate you guys.
No, I appreciate you, my man. Good luck this season, Coach. That was Coach Corey Helms. We'll be joined by Derek Howard of Ridgeview High School here at the bottom of the hour. Chris Deering, Stacey Huffer. I think you see our Twitter handle somewhere up there. Hit us up if you have anything you want to add. If you can watch us live here, we're trying to get it on several platforms. We're efforting to make that happen as we speak. And we talk a little bit of Skeeza right quick. We didn't know that wasn't something we had necessarily carved out time for. But since you mentioned that, Conan Bonnie, one of the top cornerbacks in the nation, at Heathwood Hall. The young man who's transferred up here last year, he's been offered by pretty much every P4 school in the nation, right?
Well, I can tell you, he's a kid that's just started playing football, Stacy. He was a soccer guy. He moved to the United States, I think, in 2022. He was a soccer guy before then. And, he's legit 6'2", 175 pounds and plays defensive back like a grown man. So, yeah, he's got a lot of offers out there. I'm excited to see him play this year. I know they have a game. Heathwood Hall has a game against Ben Lippin on a Thursday this year, and I'm looking forward to getting over here and watching that one. Brand new coach, Tommy Zimmerman at Heathwood. I think he's interjected a lot of spirit and people wanting to play over there, and I think he's done a really good job in the short time he's been the head coach. So looking forward to seeing that team play this year.
Yeah, me too. No doubt about it. I am looking forward to a lot of this individual talent that we have time to circle back to. Some of the names are scrolling across your screen right now. These are not all the great players in there. These are just some of them. We're just trying to start the conversation because I'm going to keep reiterating that this is the beginning of a conversation that's going to go at least 11 weeks and then postseason. Tommy Knott says November is a whole different season anyway. So the first season is, yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. So, Chris, give us another top 10 list while we're waiting on Coach Derek Howard to join us in just a little while. Go through it kind of quickly if you can, your next top 10 list.
All right, we go down to 4A. Again, a sort of a revamped 4A with new schools in it. But my number one team going into the season, again, not rocket science here, but West Side. They won it all last year. They got Cutter Woods back, the now South Carolina commit at quarterback. I think he's really good.
Yes.
I don't think he's got more weapons this year than maybe he had last year. So that West Side team's going to be explosive. That actually was joking with somebody today. I ran into our good buddy, Dennis O'Keefe, a local official here. And I said, you need to get a West Side game because they might have a running clock in the second half.
Yes.
In a lot of games.
They're going to put up numbers, man.
Yeah, he put up numbers, and again, I think he's got some talent around him this year that maybe he didn't have last year. And not that they weren't talented, but I think he's got a couple more guys this year that are really good. And I expect that West Side
off a great season, last year. I'm sorry.
Yes, exactly.
Great season.
And then number two, the team they beat in the championship last year, South Florence. They're not going anywhere. You see a name scrolling across the bottom here, Amir Adams, committed to Clemson, maybe probably the top defensive lineman in the state.
Yes.
Just really impactful on the defensive line. And one of the kids that are coming back this year, Jaden Sellers, he was hurt last year.
The brother of
Lenore Sellers.
The brother Lenore.
So he's also a South Carolina commit. So I think they're excited to have him back. I think he missed probably the last 6 to 8 weeks last year, and that they're excited to have him back. I went to media day over at South Florence and actually hung out with Drew Marlowe for a while, and he's really excited to have him back.
Yes.
Then number 3, I got a team here in 3 and 4 actually that's moving up from the 3A ranks. I'm putting Daniel right there in the mix in 4A. I think
off a 3A championship.
Yeah, exactly. No slouch. Obviously, they've been there for quite a number of years in 3A. I think they could be there again this year. So I got Daniel at number 3, and a team right down the road from us here, another 3A team that was a power, Camden, who lost in the state championship last year.
One of the best games I've ever called in championship games over. I don't want to get into how many I've done, but that double overtime, that stopped on the 1 yard line
stopped on the 1 yard line. I was right there.
One of the best moments I've ever experienced broadcasting the championship game ever. That was beautiful stuff.
Yeah. They lost their quarterback in Grayson White, who was there for it seems like about 6 years. I think Grayson White played quarterback for Camden. But he's gone now, and I think they got to make some changes there. But they have a outstanding defensive back in JoJo Krim. He's getting a lot of P4 looks, and I think he's going to do a lot for him. I think he's going to play offense, defense, and do a lot of different things for that team. Yeah. Number 5, a team that I think maybe not a lot of people are talking about this year, and I don't know, again, where my fellow writers are going to rank this team, but I got South Point at number 5. They always seem to be good. They have a quarterback transfer, a name that we're familiar with here that came from Fairfield Central, Cam McMillan. He's gone to South Point now, so that'll be interesting to see how they do things at South Point this year. But I have them number 5 in my rankings. And then we go back to the PD area, a team that always seems to be there again, almost like a Sumter or, a team that always just seems to be ranked. I have Hartsville at number 6. They just do it. They just plug guys in and keep doing it year after year.
For decades.
Yeah, for decades. And they just keep doing it well. And I can't say enough about that program and what they do over there. I love when they come to the Midlands and play. I always try to go and see that game when they do, just because I like watching Hartsville play. They do it the right way.
Yes.
Here's another team I think I might have. I might have this team ranked higher than a lot of people in the state. I got Beaufort down in the Low Country. I got them ranked number 7 in 4A. I think they return a lot of talent. 2 years ago, they won that state championship where they didn't throw a pass, if you remember that.
Right.
Tamari Bonds, I think, was that quarterback, and he's back, but he can throw it now.
Yeah,
he can throw it a little bit. So
yeah,
I got Beaufort at number 7, and I think they're gonna be pretty good. And then 8, 9, and 10. I stayed sort of right here in the Midlands because I knew these teams a little bit better than the rest. But number 8, again, moving up from 3A, I got Gilbert at number 8. A lot of talent. Two running backs last year that went over 1,000 yards. They're both back. That guy, one of them is he was a freshman last year. He's going to be a sophomore. I think Gilbert's got some talent. They got a brand new coach. Chad Leapart stepped down, so they got a brand new coach, and I think they're going to be good. Our good friend over at Brooklyn Casey, Rusty Sharpie, I have him at number 9. Again, some transfers in the mix. They got some talent. I think they're going to miss their starting quarterback the first, I don't know, a few weeks of the season from what I'm hearing. But when he gets back in there and ready to roll, I think Brooklyn Casey's could be a really good team in 4A. And then number 10, Crestwood. And that was another team that I was actually pretty high on last year. They didn't start getting into the polls till later in the season. But Crestwood, I think, is going to be really good this year. They had to replace their quarterback, but I like what they're doing at Crestwood.
Let me stop you right there. Who was it? They put up huge points up early and kind of announced themselves. Was it Camden? It was a team they really put up a bunch of points and beat early in the season and got everybody.
They beat Richland Northeast. I think they scored 60 that night.
Yeah, that might be right. That was the night. That was the night everybody started saying maybe Crestwood.
They did, and then they got into the shootout with Gray Collegiate.
Yes, that was another game.
60, I think, was that final.
Yeah,
and so they were really good, and I think they got some holes to fill. Their top quarterback's gone, their top defensive lineman's gone, but I think that team is good. They got some young talent. I talked to the coaches at a 7-on-7 over at USC, and I think they're excited about the talent they do have coming back.
Okay. Who's next?
So that is my top 10 right there for 4A.
So that was so the Midlands was in there a little bit. So Camden, little Crestwood. Who's some teams? Okay, so when you talk to 4A now, where's AC Florida these days?
They need to find a defense. That's right, where AC Florida is. They're still in 4A. Roper Winsky is a great quarterback.
Right.
They got a great wide receiver in Kendall Bird, but they couldn't stop many people last year, and that's where their shortcomings were. And I think they got to find a defense to get into rankings. And maybe the team that I left out that a lot of people want to ask about, that, again, reclassification this year. Gray Collegiate is now in 4A.
Right.
And I did not rank Gray, and that was hard. I'll be honest. I had them in, I had them out, I moved them around.
Well, they'll let you know.
Jumping 2 classifications is going to be difficult, I think, for Gray.
Right.
And it's a depth thing. They only had about 30-something players last year. I might be giving them a chip on their shoulder right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think, they got to go in and do it week in and week out against the 4As of the world and see if they can, prove me wrong, and let's be ranked at the end of the year.
Chris, let me ask you this: Richard Northeast is where now with the reclassification? Where's Richard?
They're also in 4A.
So we got to talk about that quarterback. If we want to talk about the rest of the team, we got to stop by him and put a thumb right here and say, talk about Will
Wilson. Again, I think is. A matter of fact, I'm going to see him. I saw them last year play Crestwood. I'm going to see that game again this year. They're playing again this year. Will Wilson, I think, is another Power 4 quarterback. He's going to NC State. Has all the tools, can do everything. He likes to throw it more than he likes to run it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, he can do both well. He can do both well. Yes.
Yeah, he can do both. And so I look forward to seeing him early. Like I said, I get to see that Crestwood team early, and I get to see Will Wilson and R&E early. So be interesting to see how that one pans out. Just don't know if he's got enough defense around him. He's got to, win some shootouts if he's going to win some. And, to his credit, he did that at the end of last year. That team got better as the season went on last year.
Yeah.
I think they scored 80 something in a playoff game, if you remember.
They did. He could have used more help from his defense. But let me pause you right here and give you some Huff Nation sports trivia. Not to you, Chris, because for the folks out there listening, his dad is his coach, Walt Wilson, who, by the way, two things about him: played at South Carolina State, a proud Bulldog alum. But his dad was also the head coach of whom exactly? Alshon Jeffrey.
Yep.
At Calhoun County. So it's a pedigree right there that can't be denied. But looks like his dad. They look just alike. Come on, just alike. Walt's a buddy of mine. Walt's a really good coach, and he'll get that thing fixed over there. Northeast has really made some leaps since he's been there. But those two together right there, with some better help this year, may find themselves nudging that top 10, Chris. They're not now, but like I said, you play with your pads. If you tackle well enough and block well enough, the beginning rankings mean nothing. We'll see where you ranked in November, and more specifically, the first week of December is when you really want to be in like a lamb and out like a lion. You want to roar in the first week of December. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. And some of these teams I don't have ranked, I want them to prove me wrong. I don't want to be right. Prove me wrong and get ranked and have a good run in November.
Here's a coach that knows how to put a chip on a team's shoulder right here. Coach Derek Howard, Morehouse man, Ridgeview coach, and good fellow. And just saw him recently at church with the team over there doing good things in the community. Welcome into the Huff Nation Timeout Convos, Derek Howard.
What's up, guys? Thank y'all for having me.
No doubt, man. No doubt, man. You y'all Richard Two's back in the school now, so you guys getting back in the mode. I know I see y'all doing those 5 o'clock practices at 5:30. I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, man. Well, we're just trying to solve the problems that are given to us, man. When it's those 100-degree days, you got to make two choices. Either you want to bring the kids in early or you got to keep them extra late. And our kids have done an amazing job of buying in and coming in at 5:30, and we've been practicing from 5:30 to 7:30 all this week.
Okay, we'll go back and forth. I have a couple of questions. We won't keep you long, man. We know it's dinner time and it's weather and all that kind of stuff. I'll ask you right now, what is Coach Derek Howard, looking for Ridgeview to have a successful season? It'll be a great season for Ridgeview Blazers if what happens, Derek?
Oh, we got a great schedule that I think gives us an opportunity to see where we lie. We're not trying to sugarcoat anything. We want to know how good can we be. And I think that, when we get to the end of our schedule, we got an opportunity to show the type of talent that we have at Ridgeview and, how hard our kids work. And I think that at the end of Game 10 and as we go through the playoffs, I think we're going to get an opportunity to show what we can really do.
Good coach speak answer. Good answer. That was very political. We're in a political season right now. And I'm gonna say right. I'm gonna say about the grocery store next week. I live in the area. He gonna be like, we win the championship. But that's okay. That's a good answer, Coach.
I ain't never been that kind of guy. I let the kids do it.
I know. I'm messing with you, man. I'm messing with you, man. You always keep them grounded, and that's a good thing. So, Chris, you got a couple of questions for Coach Howard.
Coach Howard, how you doing this evening? Hey, just real quick, you got your son back at quarterback, Trey Howard. He sort of split time last year. How's he sort of taking ownership of this team and as a sophomore, taking ownership and guided this team going in this preseason?
Well, I'm blessed. Trey is an amazing young man. He's a better young man than he even is a football player. He's been working extremely hard, and they're a really close-knit group. Really just excited to see what he's going to do. I mean, he's been on the Ridgeview sidelines, since he's 3-4 years old, and it's what he wants. So, I'm gonna take some time. I'm gonna be coach, but I'm gonna also be dad, man. I'm proud of him, and I know he's gonna have an amazing season. He's put the work in. It's his time.
No doubt, Coach. One last question from me, and Chris may have another one. What's your favorite thing about coaching high school football here in South Carolina?
The competition. The competition week in and week out. the brand of football that we have here in South Carolina, whether you're in the upstate, whether you're in the low country, or the PD, or definitely in the Midlands. It's quality competition. We have an opportunity to coach some amazing young men and see what they do. I mean, we're so loaded with talent in this great state. So I just think that's the part that's fun, and just having the opportunity to be a part of these kids' lives. They keep me young, man. They keep me young.
Good stuff, Chris.
Well, I'm gonna give you a plug, Coach Howard. Well, a lot of people don't know you were the quarterback at Ridgeview back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Back when they first opened the school, I had an opportunity to play for Coach Kirk Burnett, who knows how to get some wins.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. But last question for you. Making that jump to 5A, sort of what's that look like for you guys? I know I looked at your schedule earlier. You got a tough schedule, non-region, and then when you get into region, that's gonna be tough as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of familiarity there when you go into our region. I mean, every single team in our region, um, other than West Florence, we've played, and then we scrimmaged West Florence. So all the teams, the Richland two schools, Blythewood, Spring Valley, Westwood, we're very familiar with them. Sumter, we played them every year since I've been here. West Florence, obviously, I know them from my time at Wilson. So it's a good, tough region. We wanted to make sure as we bump up to 5A that we're playing quality 5A opponents. So in our non-region, we're playing teams that are state championship caliber teams, and Dutch Fork and Northwestern and Camden, along with playing a highly ranked Fairfield Central team. So we figure if we're gonna play 5A football, then we need to play quality 5A teams. Whenever Ridgeview has really done well in the playoffs, it's been a 8-2 to 6-4 team that's been battle tested, and that's what we want to be. We're not trying to sugarcoat it. At the end of the day, we want to say that we did it the right way and we played some quality teams, and so we're ready, to go into the lower state of Division 1 5A, where we're playing, the likes of the Carolina Forest and your Somervilles and your Sumter, and we'll know that our schedule has prepared us for it and our young men are ready.
Coach, I tell you what, I appreciate you for spending some time with us, first of all, and also give you some props for you and all coaches who take that smoke, who take the tough schedule, and you say do it the right way and battle test your teams and get them ready for the real season in November. So I appreciate you for sharing some time and keep doing your great job over there, Coach. Thank you for spending some time with us tonight.
Thank you. All right, y'all take care. Good night.
You too, my guy. That's my man, Derek Howard, Coach Derek Howard, Morehouse, man. I always mention that. Good guy, man. I always throw the caveat in there. He's the only head coach I know that has a chemistry degree.
Oh, wow. I did not realize that.
He has a chemistry degree from Morehouse, which is props on that all the way around. Just outstanding dude. Played some running back and quarterback at Morehouse when he was there, as well as a football player. And then chemistry. That's got to be a tough schedule. So thanks to Coach Howard. Thanks to Coach Helms for popping in with us and sharing some time on Timeout Convos. Our very first high school preview show, and we'll do some shows during the season, at least monthly, maybe twice a month, maybe 3 times a month. We're going to be here with you. This is the first of what we believe will be many. Chris Deering alongside Chris. We're going to run down some more top lists. We've done 5A. We've done 4A. Folks, look at your bottom screen there. AJ Brand, Will Wilson, Carter Woods, 3 of the top quarterbacks in the state in this senior class. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. Jaden Sellers. Look at the scroll. A lot of names out there. Now the names will be added to these lists and to get attention as the season plays out. Chris, I think we're on your 3A, 2A. We're
moving down to 3A right now. And I don't know which was harder for me to rank, 3A or 2A. So this is one I really had to play around with top to bottom. And but we'll go with 3A first. Team making a move up from 2A, the defending 2A champion, Oceanside Collegiate. I think the talent is there. There's no question they can compete in 3A. I know what I just said about Gray jumping to 4A, but I think Oceanside's got the talent and the guys to compete on 3A level. And I think they could be the team to beat. I mean, that's how good they are. They got a lot of pieces back from that state championship team. They got a sophomore quarterback. You hear us keep mentioning sophomore. These kids made an impact as freshmen. And most of them were 14 or 15 years old playing against 17 and 18-year-olds. So there's a big upside in the state of South Carolina with a bunch of young guns coming up, and excited to watch these guys play. So can't wait to see Oceanside this year. Matter of fact, they open with Irma, and that's gonna be a week 1 game that a lot of people I think have their eyes on. And then number 2, I got a team that's always there. You don't question where they are. It's always a team in the playoffs that you don't want to see, the Dillon Wildcats. I think Dillon's could be really good again this year. You know, they lost their quarterback, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, who decided to transfer, or he's transferred to a school in North Carolina. And I think that's going to hurt them a little bit, but they'll figure it out. They got enough talent to figure it out at Dillon, and I think they're going to do a really good job of doing that again this year. At number 3, I got Belton Honeypath, a team that's been really good now for a number of years. They just haven't gotten over the top to play for a state championship, but I think that team is really good. They really loaded. They got a lot of pieces back too. I think that's going to be a really good team in the upstate this year. Then number 4, a team that struggled and actually finished below 500 last year. I have them at number 4, Marlboro County. You know, a lot of history there in that program, a lot of wins. I mentioned Tymier Zimmerman earlier, the coach what he played there. But that team, they got a whole new coaching staff, a lot of guys that came from North Carolina. They got a lot of guys that are legitimate D1 prospects that came with them from North Carolina. So that team's going to be loaded, I think, and they can I think they could be a lot better than they have the last couple of years. They were a 4-win team last year, and I think they could be a lot better this year. So I have them at number 4 coming in. Number 5, a team that's making the jump from 1A that won a state championship last year, Christ Church. A lot of talent on that team, a lot of returning talent. The wide receiver that I really like, Jackson Rep, just got an offer from South Carolina. They got another wide receiver that's really good. The quarterback is back. They open right across the road from where I live. They open with Hammond.
Yes.
And that's going to be a good one, I think. Actually, that's where I'm going, because I want to see those wide receivers against those Hammond defensive backs.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a good opening game for both schools. So going to see Christ Church early in the season. and I got them number 5 in 3A. They're making that jump from Class A. Number 6, if you see a theme here, got a lot of these schools in 3A. Broome, I think Broome's could be really good again. A lot of returning talent. They got a couple of transfers in as well. I got Broome at number 6. Number 7, staying in the upstate, I got Chapman, a team that's been there. I think they had a 10 or 11 win season last year. They've been really good on offense mainly. I think their defense is a little bit better this year. I think their offense is still good, so they got a lot of firepower at Chapman. Number 8, a team that maybe a lot of people don't have ranked. We have to see how it shakes out next week, but I like Pendleton. I think they got a lot of pieces back in 2024. So to see where they fall, I got them at number 8 right now. Let's see if they can hold true to my preseason ranking. And here comes number 9 that a lot of people are going to say, who are you talking about? Because brand new school, Mountain View Prep. So those kids are having to gel together in a short amount of time. They're jumping right in, playing a varsity schedule. A lot of times you get these new schools, they play a limited varsity schedule and maybe a JV schedule. Mountain View Prep's jumping right into the mix and playing a varsity schedule, and they got talent. It's just to see how well they gel together and get it done in this first year. And then number 10, again, I think I could get a dart and throw it at a board and try to pick a team here. I stayed local at number 10, Keenan, the Keenan Raiders.
Okay.
They got about 20 returning starters from last year. They got a lot of good talent coming back. I think they have a really good head coach. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Keenan surprise some people this season.
I'd like to see that. And 2 things I'll point out real quick. So you mentioned that Spartanburg corridor is kind of loud in that 3A with the Broome and the Chapman area. That 3A was ran by D.W. Daniel Camden for 5-6 years now, right?
Yes, exactly.
So new day. That's what the realignment does. It's a new day now. And I'll say this: is Dreer still 3A or are they 4A?
Oh, I don't know that one off the top of my head. I'll be honest. I've not got all these regions down just yet.
No, I get you. I'm not trying to put you on the spot because it is a new day. That's why we're doing this. This is a new day. When we come back as the season starts, we'll have more answers and less questions. But lots of questions now. So let me say this: I had two coaches jokingly refer to me over the last few months about the high school transfer portal. You mentioned Mountain View Prep, so a lot of movement, right? So it's hard not only to keep up with the teams and regions, but the player movement. I saw on Twitter. You talk about Westside. I saw on Twitter right before we came on air about, and I didn't catch the name. A player from Westside is transferred to Gray. Was announced this afternoon, so I'm not sure. I got to go back and right. So
I've not seen that. So you got breaking news there.
So right. So I saw this literally before I was coming up the stairs to my office here to do this. So it's fluid. Some things are fluid. Christopher Baker transferred into Dreer. He's going to play quarterback over there for Corey. And just be careful. They have a wide receiver that's already getting a little bit of attention.
Well, wait a minute. That wide receiver, I think, transferred to Gray.
See, there you go. See, already didn't this happened recently?
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
There you go. See, there you go. And that was going to be a tandem. So that's
a good wide receiver, and I think he's
and see, they get a good quarterback kid. Christopher Baker can spin it. He can throw it. Transferred in. He was going to be a Cardinal Newman, I think, last year. Suffered some injuries and didn't ever get to play last year, but he's going to be a sophomore with an arm that. Watch the name Christopher Baker at Dreer. Got to find a new guy to throw to, but they got a running back over there that's really, really good, a returning senior that played well on our TV cameras, really physical kid that'll play some D2 ball probably. So just want to throw Dreer in there. Speaking of Midlands teams, because those are the teams that I kind of know more about. The high school transfer portal is real. See, I can't even keep up. See,
it's very much real, and we could do a whole show on that, but I don't think we want to.
No.
We don't want to get too far into that tonight.
No, that's the elephant in the room, but the elephant's getting bigger. Elephant's getting bigger, but it is what it is. So we've covered 5A, 4A, and 3A. Coming up, we're going to hit 2A and 1A. We got about 15, 20 minutes of show left here we're going to do. And so before we do that, because you can run down those last two relatively quickly, I want to pause right here, Chris, and just say, you do know that you and I talked off air, but tell everybody again, we're the preview show. The season culminates once again in Orangeburg. Talk about that and how that kind of looks when we're crowned the champions.
Yeah, I think the decision's already been made to play the championships in Orangeburg again at South Carolina State. I thought, I'm probably one of the more vocal people on Twitter when I don't see things the way I should or the way I think they should be. And I gave the high school league props. I thought last year that it was a great atmosphere. It was a great setting. I thought it was run very well. I thought the championships in South Carolina State was handled really, really well by everybody involved last year. So we're going back there this year. I think it's a good spot for it. I think it's a good setting for it. I've told you, I think I've told you this off the air.
Yeah.
I do like the fact when they did have it at South Carolina, when they did have it at Clemson those few years. I like the fact that the high school kids get to play in the big stadium.
Yeah.
But South Carolina State's pretty big. I mean, it's not a small stadium. It's a good sized stadium. Yeah. And I thought it was run very, very well last year, and I'm looking forward to getting back down there in December this year.
Oliver C. Dawson Bulldog Stadium is a venerable site as well because it's been the host of the South Carolina State who's played for national championships in their area, and they've also turned out many pros who know that. In the press box, I got to give a shout out to my uncle, William Bill Hamilton. He was SID there for 34 years. He's still alive and kicking in Orangeburg, and that's my dad's old high school team. And I can't talk about South Carolina State without mentioning Mr. Bill Hamilton, who's been a mentor to me. But I love being there because I saw him. But the real nitty to the gritty of your point, Orangeburg is centrally located, still more than a lot. All the games were in one location. Those are the positives there, and let's hope it gets better each time they do it there. Now, before we go to the last two classifications and get ready to wrap up the show in a little bit, I hope all teams are striving for that. If you're going to practice every day in poppy pads at 5 a.m, some at night in the heat, I hope your championship goals and aspirations are what you're working toward. And props to everybody out there, the coaches, the players that are doing their thing. We'll go ahead and resume our countdown. Chris Deering here, November 1. I'm Stacey Huff. We're gonna wrap it up with the last two. What's the number one team in 2A and run it down 1 through 10 for us in that category?
Yeah, I'll run these down a little bit quicker, Stacy. I know we're getting short on time, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be in the minority. I'm my number one in 2A. I've already talked to a lot of prep writers. I know who they've picked. I went in a little different direction. I went Clinton, number one in 2A.
Okay.
I think that's a really good team. I think they got a lot of talent, and I think they could be there at the end. So we'll see how all this pans out. But number two is a team that I think a lot of people are picking at number one. So I didn't drop them too far. I think Chester's could be number two in 2A. So I think, they got their quarterback back, and that's could be a really talented team as well. So Chester at number two. Number three, going over to the Aiken area finally, you've got Barnwell. I think they've been really good for a number of years. And
The War Horses.
I think they got some. I think they got some horses to try to get it done this year. So got Barnwell at number three. Number four, Hampton County, a team that I thought was really good last year.
Yeah, they were.
They did lose some talent. They had a Mr. Finalist for Mr. Football here in South Carolina. He's no longer there, but I think they got some pieces in place at Hampton County to be really good. Number five, Manning, coached by our good buddy Reggie Kennedy, South Carolina Shrine Bowl coach.
That's my guy.
So I think they could be pretty good this year. I got Manning at number five. Number six, I got Sherraw. I think another team. This is your neck of the woods, right?
Man, that's my arch rivals, man. I come on, you kind of hurt me with that one, but okay.
It's all right, just Stacey. I do that one.
I have a relative on that team, though. As a young man,
Okay.
remember, there's a receiver that's got the attention from Dabo and Beamer already. A man by the name of Nick Gordon. He's a rising junior wide receiver, very fast. He did well at camps this summer. He's had some interest shown from Clemson and Carolina. I think it's rising 10th or 11th grader. Nick Gordon, wide receiver there. Go ahead.
As soon as this show's over, I'm gonna go watch his huddle film. So I'll see what it's all
Yeah,
about.
it's really impressive. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Where was that? That was number six. So number seven, going down to the Low Country, got Philip Simmons, a team that was really good defensively last year. I think they could be. I think they lost some people on defense, but I think they could be pretty good this season. So we got Philip Simmons at number seven. Number eight, Andrew Jackson, a team that I thought's been really good the last few years, and I think they could be pretty good this year. I got Andrew Jackson at number eight. Number nine, Fairfield Central, Demetrius Davis. He does a great job with that program. Got to find a quarterback because his quarterback transferred, but I think he's going to be okay in the grand scheme of things. I think he's going to find a way to get it done. And then number 10, Strong Thurman, a team that, again, these are teams you hear every single year. This is no surprise. None of these teams are really earth-shattering. These teams we talk about every year.
Good stuff, man. Listen, I talked to Demetrius Davis about 2 months ago. We were at the retirement gala for my good friend and fraternity brother, Dr. J.R. Green, who retired as superintendent up there. And Demetrius emceed it. He emceed it.
Nice.
Yeah. He had some good jokes, man. He and Darcy Strickland actually both emceed it. But actually, I got to talk to him at that event. And we talked. You know what? He said his son is one of the two kids going to be vying for that starting quarterback job. His son is
okay.
And how coaches have that. By nature, Fairfield Central in general and Demetrius Davis in particular are grinded out traditions. When he had the young man that was slinging the hash that went back to South Point, he had to play to the talent. He's not really totally upset with the fact that he's about to go back to a ground and pound offense. He's not totally depressed about that. Just so you know,
he's got a good wide receiver in Ty Greer.
Yeah, he does have that, but he
needs to get into football some way.
I get it. But yeah, he's like now the offensive line does what he does. He's gonna go back to less. It was more highlighted that he said now he'd be like Robin Bacon used to say, throw the score. Not necessarily throw all the time, but you throw for touchdowns. Robert Bacon said, yeah, he said, this option. He said, you throw for touchdowns. So I'm just saying he's not totally. He's looking forward to the challenge of going back to a more, traditional kind of just physical type football. Demetrius Davis, that's how he came up through South Carolina State and through Fairfield, and he's kind of looking to that challenge again. You hate to lose a talent, but a young man, he lost to South Point. That's not to be overlooked. But that's a great. By the way, all of your top 10s are very legitimate. It's going to be hard to argue with those. I know you said some people don't like the Clinton at number one, but they'll play it out. They'll get to see. Clinton's been knocking on the door, kind of hovering around for a little bit now. So this might be their year.
You know, believe it or not, I did put a little research into this.
Of
I think some
course.
people think we just get a dartboard and throw it on a board, but I
That's not
did
what
put
you
a little
do.
research into this thing and looked at, again, there's what, 50 teams ranked in 5 classifications total.
Yeah.
No, I've not seen all 50 in person. That's impossible.
Right.
But I have watched a lot of film on a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
I have done my homework. I know what they got coming back. I know what they got on the horizon. Just to give us a plug, that's what we do at Prep RedZone. It's our job to know who these kids are, and that's what we try to do and get them out there. And I think we do a pretty good job of it with a staff of about 6. And so, I think I got a pretty good handle on the whole state. But I do want to see these teams. I do want to get out to scrimmages this week if they have them Friday and Saturday. And then, next week we got some jamborees. And I think I know where I'm going next Friday. Not 100% sure just yet. I think I know where I'm going next Friday. And just get out and see some teams. And, like I say, get the pads to popping, man. That gets my blood flowing and gets the juices going. And,
man, I love jamboree season, man. We used to Chesterfield. We used
to
play
one more down, Stacy. One more down.
And that's right. You know what? We used to Chesterfield was to play the jamboree in Hartsville at Kellytown Stadium every year. And I remember when you did matches up against Pageland, and we couldn't wait for those 2 quarters to be over. Everybody played 2 quarters. It was like us, Hartsville, Pageland. We could not wait to get loose from Pageland. That was back when Corey Miller was there. That was an ugly mismatch. But yeah, I just love that time of year. And it's really the players can't wait too because they be hitting each other. And then we start getting the jamboree season, you really get to go out and see what you're doing against other people instead of 1s versus 2s or hitting your teammates. You get to find out what it's really like to go after somebody from another school. So it's going to be an exciting time for everyone. And I know you'll be out there. You don't want to give us a hint when you'll be next Friday? What's the hint?
It's a good bet I'm going to be at Lexington. I feel like I'm going to be over at Lexington. I know our good buddy Thomas Grant. He's going to Chapin for the one in Chapin.
Yeah, I want to give him a shout out.
Yeah, we got one right here close to my house, Memorial Stadium, the Richland One, Sportsorama. But I just looking at the schedule, I think I'm going to Lexington. Yeah. But again, I'm giving it a little bit where I live in Columbia. Memorial Stadium is about 3 miles away, and so I might have to just stay local and go to that one.
No doubt. You mentioned Thomas Grant. I'll give him a shout out. He'll be a contributor to this show too. Timeout Convos with Stacey Huff Nation Sports. We'll rotate. We'll have Chris Deering on. We'll have Thomas Grant on every now and then. We might throw a Lou Bajak in there. We'll have local coaches on during this football season as well, and we'll try to keep it going through basketball and spring sports as well. But Thomas Grant is definitely going to be a key contributor. He and Chris and Lou, all those guys, we thank all of them for doing what they do. My man, Richie Altman down in Low Country, I talked to him on the phone today. He was talking to me about some Somerville, Fort D. He said Fort D might be down a little bit, but you look to see Hanahan might be decent. So I talked to some of them. But Thomas Grant told me 3 players to watch out for, and we'll talk about them in a minute after you do your 1A. Jordan Gidron from Ridgeview. We talked about Donovan Murphy. Yes. Another great rising junior gets offered by everybody. Jordan Gidron. He mentioned Donovan Murphy, A.J. Brand. He also threw in a name, Trevino Williamson Gilbert. And Gilbert in Lexington is week 0 game on our watch slots for the 7th schedule. I'll go through that schedule, time permitting. If not, it'll be the next show. But we'll go through that on August 23rd. It'll be Gilbert America at Lexington. Chris, we're all waiting now for your 1A.
All right, 1A. And this might be the only, and if it's not, I'm going to be very, very shocked. This might be the only unanimous number 1 pick in the Prep Writers poll. But if somebody if they don't pick Abbeville, I don't know what.
Right.
Dropping down from 2A, I think just they're poised to have a really great year in Class A. And
they might run the table. They might run the table. There might be a lot of running clocks in the second half of some of their games. And I got Abbeville at number 1. And if people vote otherwise, I'm curious to see who they vote for. And we'll see how it all pans out next week. Like I say, all these are due in Monday. So I'm turning mine in as soon as this show's over. So the guys will have my rankings here tonight. Number 2, a team that's been there, lost to Christchurch the last couple of years, Johnsonville. Some holes to fill, but I like Johnsonville. Number 3, Bamberg Earhart. Again, a team that's been right there knocking on the door for a couple of years now. 3-year starter, quarterback back. Mm-hmm. So I like Bamberg Earhart. Blackfield Hilda, got a kid that's committed to South Carolina,
full of speed, got a lot of speed.
Yes.
So I like Blackville Hilda. Number 5, I got Cross, team from the Low Country, Berkeley County. Shout out right there. They got most of their skill guys back, and matter of fact, I think they got a lot of returning starters at Cross, so they might be a sort of a dark horse to watch in 1A. Number 6, Louisville, brand new coach, but new talent. I think they could be really good. Number 7, Lamar. Number 8, Lakeview. Number 9, Latta. Had a long string of L's there, didn't I? I just realized that.
You
Read them off.
You're right.
And then number 10, Calhoun County, a team that lost a lot, but I think they got a lot of talent back too.
You know, you mentioned some teams there, and I mean, Abbeville, I think Lamar, right off the bat, well coached, by the way.
Yes.
Young man, he came out to Ridge, your staff as a head coach over there. I think Lamar might be a team that might try to give Abbeville a challenge. I think Abbeville may just run the table and take it. I don't have anybody I'm really feeling good about going against the Abbeville Dynasty. That might be the real title town. I think they're mounting, Chris. They get to the point where they're closing in on the most titles, if they're not already there, for any school.
They might be getting close, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So definitely that. But our last few minutes, I want to do this. And by the way, this is Chris Deering. I think our Twitter handles may be up there, Chris. Before we get out here, make sure you double down, throw that on there too. Chris writes for Prep RedZone. He's a man about town, been around for a long time. Follow him and everything he does. My Twitter handle's right there. I just saw it on the screen. Everyone's right there. There's Chris's right there on the screen. A couple things, Chris, in our last segment. Let's talk about, I don't know the last time I've seen, and you cover this specifically more than I have for real, and I know you've been doing this 30 years, a year where we have not only just three quarterbacks in a senior class in South Carolina that's going to, it was P5, I guess it's P4 now. And my predictions, by the way, eventually we'll be down to 2 or 3.
Yeah,
yeah. But and the NCAA will be banded. That's another show I'll do for another time. I think they'll redo the whole NCAA. But so anyway, P4, the highest level supposedly in athletics, right? We have 3. Not only have I not seen this in a long time, and if I have seen it, it wasn't like this. They all 3 committed before the senior year started. Early, which is a different kind of level. They were early commits to a P4 school. I talk about those 3 kids: Will Wilson at Northeast, and Cutter Woods at Westside, and of course AJ Brand at Irmo.
Yeah, we've seen some talented quarterbacks come out of this state.
Yeah,
you know, I tell people, I've been around a long time, Stacey. I've been doing this, it seems like forever, and I've seen them all come through. And it's very rare that you have 3 guys going to P4 schools. And again, like you said, committed before their senior year, didn't slip in the back door of one of these schools. They were wanted by these schools and were committed early. So I think, Cutter Woods at South Carolina, Will Wilson at NC State, and AJ Brand at Virginia Tech. I think all 3 of those guys have a chance to play quarterback at the next level and be successful.
Yes.
We talked about the transfer portal in high school. It's real in college as well, but I think these kids they're good enough to go in and compete and have a chance to play at their respective schools where they're going out of high school. So it'll be interesting to watch their development this year and how they transition into the college game. I tell people all the time, doing what I do, I'm always going to pull for kids from South Carolina. No matter where they go to school, what they do, I'm always going to pull for kids from South Carolina. And I hope all 3 of them go and be successful at the 3 schools I just mentioned.
No doubt. I appreciate that and your comments there. And I'm always going to advocate for them as well. Shout out to a couple more sponsors, Chris. Let me shout out a couple of sponsors, and then I want you to give your final thoughts, and I'll give mine, and we'll sign them on off here. But again, this won't be the last time, folks. This is a pre. I keep accenting the pre. This is a preview. It's a precursor. It's whatever you want. It's before. We're out of the storm. We're out of the storm, coming to you, and the smoke will clear, the storm will go away, and as August and September goes around, we have some answers. And if you're mad about your top 10, play your way in it. If you don't really deserve to be there, you'll be exposed. That's how sports work. But I'll shout out to my man Chad the Barber over at 301 Rice Meadow Drive off Hard Scrabble. There's Carolina Barber and Beauty. Give him love to that young man. Stockton Family Dentistry over off of 2 Notch Road. So much love here. We have a crawl with some of our sponsors that make Timeout Convos possible. Atkins Law Firm. I mentioned Tony Deshaw Law Firm over there. All kind of folks. We want to thank all those guys. Blue Collar Cafe Food Truck for all they do to help make this possible. But there's more to come. This is one of many. Some of your final thoughts as we head into the 2024 season, Chris.
I really say I'm just excited to get it going. Again, there were a lot of scrimmages scheduled for tomorrow. I don't look like they're going to happen with the weather we're having here in the Midlands area, but I think they've been rescheduled for Friday and Saturday. I'm trying to get that schedule in my hand now so I can go out and see some schools. And in the next week, it's jamborees, but it's under the lights. There's fans in the stands. Coaches aren't standing behind the huddles on the field. It's real football. And I know it's only 2 quarters, but I can't wait to get out there and see kids compete. And then August 23rd, we kick it off for real. And
I cannot wait.
Let's just get it going. I mean, I'm ready to go now.
And, I can hear it. I hear it, man. Don't hit nobody, Chris. Don't hit nobody.
It's football season, and my wife's in the other room. She's probably going crazy that I'm so excited about it. And
same here.
Just can't wait and get it going, and can't wait to get back on this show with you guys. Great platform. Anything we can do to promote high school athletics, I'm all for. And shout out to our guy Todd. Appreciate him putting this together. Appreciate you hosting this thing. And can't wait to get back on here and do it again.
No doubt. My last thoughts, I want to say this: August 23rd, week 0, watch Fox 57. Our game of the week would be Gilbert at Lexington. Check your local list. There'll be 11 games scheduled. Go to the watch.com website. I want to shout out to Todd. And I want to say this: all kids out there, I'm proud of all of you guys out there, these scholar athletes, these kids that are getting up, doing their schoolwork, getting their pads on, playing the game with great sportsmanship out there, competing. It's week 0, the next thing on the schedule for real games. Everybody's undefeated right now. Everybody should be enthusiastic. Fans, get behind these youngsters. Get behind these kids. Your next superstars, your next Saturday stars, your next Gamecocks, Tigers, Bulldogs, Bulls, whatever school, your Chanticleers, they're all right here playing right now in your local high schools. Get off the couch. Go check these kids out. It's only $10 or so. Go support these kids. If you can't tune in on TV, some kind of way, put your eyes on them. Don't be surprised when a Cutter Woods or Will Wilson or AJ Brand or Jordan Gidron, or one of these kids are in the NFL or playing big time college ball. You're like, I didn't know they were in South Carolina. Let's go support them, give them love, encourage them to keep doing the right things. Props to all the coaches, support staff, everyone that makes it all possible to have high school football here, the high school league, everybody that makes it happen. I'm excited, as Chris is. It's the 2024 season, folks. Let's get out there and let's make it happen. There's nothing. I start broadcasting this sometimes. I'm going to say this and I'm going to end this particular show. There's nothing quite like high school football Friday nights in the state of South Carolina. Looking for the 2024 season. Can't wait for it. And we'll be joining you as the season goes on with many guests, cast of thousands. And we'll make it continue to happen and talk about it and chop it up and give you ways you can interact as we go along and go forward. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Todd, for making it happen. My man T-Money on the background back there making it happen. Todd, the guy behind the thing, the lost letter. He's a lost letterman. We found him. And I look forward to that on Timeout Convos with Stacey Huff Nation Sports Zone. We'll see you next time. Chris, you have a good one. I'm going to talk to you off camera. I'm going to find out where you're going. I'm going to meet you at one of those games, too. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. And we're out of here on Huff Nation Sports Timeout Convos preseason 2020.